What? What do you mean, why am I sharpening this sword? This is a trusty sword. I mean, what if there's like a zombie apocalypse or something? Yeah, I know. You can fly. But then you'd leave your boy, me, to fight off the zombie horde. What? I'm gonna let you know something, Prime. There's a lot of brains up here, and any zombie would be happy just to get a taste of them. Oh, yeah, you don't have to be afraid of zombies. Obviously, you've never read Blackest Night. Had Superman looking like the Crypt Keeper. Woo! What up? Welcome back. It is Bones. And let's go ahead and do a top 10 list. Now, this time it will be my top 10 classic Spawn McFarlane figures that I actually own. Now, I know there's tons of classic Spawn McFarlane figures that are just awesome. Pretty much shelf candy, and a lot of them are highly valued on the secondary market, but still great figures if you could pick them up and add them to your collection. These are just personal favorites that I actually have in my collection. Now, coming in at number 10 is the Spawn from the movie line. Now, there wasn't really too many figures released from the movie line. I mean, it wasn't, I mean, there was a good amount, but it wasn't a ton. And we didn't really get bigger sized Spawn figure. We got these little figures, and then they do have a pretty big Malbosia. Some stuff I like from the movie line that was released, but I would definitely like a clown. And then another thing is that this is actually customed, because I'm not sure where I found this cape, but it had like a pretty cool collar. And of course, he has a little bit of necroplasm in his hand. But this is one of my favorite figures to actually take a look at in the collection. And pretty cool. Besides the minimal points of articulation, it has like a little glossy, like, shine to him. And even though it is really cheap plastic, you can actually feel it when you have them in hand. It's just a pretty cool representation of the movie Spawn, even though we never got a caped one, and this is actually my own version of him. Now, I also did make another custom from the other version of Spawn, like the spiked up version, because there was never really a version that had like double grips, so you couldn't really have him hold two machine guns. But I actually did this with a custom hand, and this guy has different spikes and colors than the original version, but I like this one as well. It doesn't have the cape, but it's like a more armored version when he's actually using a lot of guns during the movie. So not too great of a movie, but I really enjoy these figures, so that's why I have them in the collection. So that one's coming in, the movie versions of Spawn coming in at number 10. Now, coming in at number 9 is McFarlane's version of Chapel. Now, I really love this character. This is actually the guy that turned on Spawn in the comics. Came with some pretty cool accessories. He has these drop down guns on his back. I love that blade. This was a really fun time to be collecting McFarlane when he first made these, like, almost 4 or 5 inch figures. But this is also one of the only ways you could actually get Chapel from McFarlane. Now, I do have another custom of these, and that is this one. You could tell that the paint on the face is different on this one. This one's more like a full skull. And this is my custom one. He comes with a little machine gun. I also silvered up his skull medallion, but he's also up there on the shelf with this one. So they're both two different versions, even though one is a custom. But I like having them up there on the shelf, and these are, like I say, one of the only versions you could have of Chapel from McFarlane. Pretty nice ones. Now coming in at number 8, you have the Max from McFarlane. Now this is another figure that you don't really get a lot of versions of him. There are some, but this was from that Sam Keith comic, and I just love his look. I love the way the color scheme. You know, he's a pretty awesome little figure. Limited articulation on this one, and this one, you know, it's not too hard to get on the aftermarket, but I'd like to pick up another one of these because he does come with like a headdress, so that way I could display both versions. And then I do have a black Ed, these little creatures that come with them sometimes. But if you look at this one, just the cartoonic style and the detail is pretty awesome. Like, you have all the musculature, and then on his boots you have like all the straps, and the grain and all that is just really superb. I really love that Max figure. He's awesome. Not necessarily a Spawn figure, but he was released by McFarlane in the Spawn line. Now coming in at number 7 is this Arsenal Spawn. Now this guy's been released in different versions. I think one comes with like a fish tank, and he comes with tons of guns, and I do have all those guns, but I usually just like to display him with his 2 pistols. Now you can wonder, why does he have 2 pistols? He only comes with 1, and that is because I actually have the 2 versions of this guy. One is more like a unmasked Spawn, meathead, and I actually have him with that minigun. And then you have this masked version with that, you know, cover over his mouth. Really love both of these. They are kind of pricey on the aftermarket, but once you have them, I love having them up there on the shelf. Tons of detail, tons of paint, lots of spikes on these guys. Really cool to have them in the collection. Now at number 6, we have the Heap. Now this guy is a crazy figure. Limited articulation as usual. He does have a articulated mouth, but aside from being pretty much a statue with limited movement, he does move at the waist and the arms. But the thing about this guy, look at all the scope work they did to him. I mean, he has tons of stuff in him. Shards of glass, hammers, bones, toilet seats, human bones, a skull. I love this tire on his back. There's a skeletonized hand there. He's just a cool figure to have, you know, up there on the shelf. He's like some pretty grotesque shelf candy, but not too hard to get him on the aftermarket. You can pick him up. But really love that figure. Love having him up on the shelf. Pretty cool. The Heap. Coming in at number 5, we have this Statuesque Spawn with all his armory. Pretty cool. I used to have him up here where now I have my Batman, but he used to sit there for a long time when I first started doing vids. But I love this figure. I actually remember picking him up at Toys R Us, and I've had him ever since. This is what you could see is like attention to detail in the sculpt work and the paint apps, but very minimal articulation. I think he probably has like 3 points of articulation. So this is the quintessential shelf candy. Like, he looks good up there. He really sticks out on the shelf, but not too much movement in this actual figure. But I still love him. Whenever I get a chance to look at him in the display, he's pretty cool. So that is number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have, I think this is the second or third version of Cy-Gor. Now, this is just an awesome figure. A couple months back recently, I actually picked this guy up because I had never owned him before, but kind of pricey. And this is another one of those figures that looks awesome on the shelf, has tons of detail, tons of color, tons of sculpt work, but is just minimally articulated. Just really probably about 5-6 points of articulation. But that does not take away that he is some pretty awesome shelf candy. Now, one of the things about this guy, besides the wires and the colors and all the textures that they use, is you can actually pop open his chest area, and he actually has like a little robotic ape in there. Pretty cool little addition. So if you pick this guy up, make sure he has the little ape figure. It's well worth it. But even inside there, there's tons of sculpt work where the little ape sits. But like I say, he's an awesome figure. You could pick him up. Pretty cool rendition of Cy-Gor there, and a pretty big figure as well. This is where you start getting into the bigger McFarlane figures. That is number 4. Now coming in at number 3, we have the Creech. Now this is actually the second version of Creech. There's another one that's a more hollow plastic. This one is more like a mixture between kind of like I want to say like a plaster or like stone or something like that. You can actually feel it, kind of statuesque, and plastic parts as well. He has articulated fingers, articulated guns on his wrist, tons of sculpt work, tons of color, tons of paint. You got these like tentacles here coming out of the back of his head. They are bendable, so you could move it around to the shape you want. So all in all, this is an awesome figure, but again, minimal articulation points. I think even his head has none because it sits like right inside the body. Comes with a pretty cool little stand, and this is a beautiful figure to have on your shelf. That is Creech. Now for the runner-up, this is Overkill. Now I think this is also like the same, like the second or third version of Overkill. Over 2, they might call it. But beautiful, beautiful sculpt work, beautiful paint. Again, not too much articulation. What it does have is a shelf presence. So these are, nice to have on the shelf. Has like a hidden gun here on this side. Pretty awesome figure. You don't get many figures like this. Look at the size of them compared to the other ones. But beautiful, beautiful figure to have on your spawn shelf. And there are actually other figures that are the same size and the same like attention to detail that I would like to pick up eventually just to have in my spawn collection. But we'll get to that. But these are figures that if you could pick them up for cheap, I would suggest picking them up and adding them to your spawn shelf. Pretty cool. And now this is your number 1, and it's kind of funny because this is actually the first Spawn figure from McFarlane. Now if you go back, these are like 5-inch, minimal articulation. They don't even really have that much sculpt work. It's minimal, but they do have a lot of paint. He has this cape, that could fold on itself. And if you got a McFarlane shelf, you gotta have this guy in your collection. Now McFarlane did make lots of different versions. The meathead one, the shoelace one, a translucent one, a gold one. But this is the original and, the best looking. Now I love having him on the shelf. He is pretty much a throw inspiration to this one, which was the Kickstarter Spawn. I love this guy too, but this isn't really a classic McFarlane figure. This is more recent, but I did get the 3 versions of the Kickstarter. Now this guy is just a solid figure. Like I say, it's basically, this is the original version, and this is, you know, the modern version. The with all the colors and articulation you would want. The cape is kind of in the same vein as that old school one, where it kind of like folds in on itself. But this is an awesome figure to have in your collection. Good luck getting them on the secondary market. But that is my top 10 classic Spawn figures that I own. I know there are tons more. I'm actually gonna I'm actually gonna go hunting some already right after I finish this video. You guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.